Throwback Thursday. That's right, we're throwing it back to race damaged mood springs, one of the most popular and iconic diecasts Mattel has ever released in the Disney Cars line. And when I say that, I am not exaggerating. I mean, he was released 10 years ago. First of all, it's a great throwback, a decade that has passed since this guy has been released. That is incredible. But like I was saying, he was just a normal single release in the Final Lap collection. And because of his iconic scene in the movie, he has become extremely rare. But anyways, guys, welcome back to Throwback Thursday. Welcome to episode 5. It is kind of a milestone, I guess, especially because the series has been going on for over 2 years, and yet we're only at episode 5. I'm sorry, guys. Things just get in the way, but what's up, quarantine? Thanks for all the extra time, bro. So yeah, have a ton of extra time to record videos during quarantine, so I hope you guys have been enjoying them, and there's a ton of more cool videos on the way, like unboxing Case H of singles. Yeah, I know, right? It's already here. Case H with Dan Garcia, new trainee called Jay, Silver Lightning McQueen. Awesome stuff. So definitely look forward to that over the next few days. But first order of business is what you want to see in Throwback Thursday episode 6. And I promise it will not take another year to come out. So the options are, and these were mostly suggested by viewers, Muddy Lightning McQueen, Hummer Sven, the Queen, all 6 circus cars, or there are 5, I don't remember, but here's 2. And the last option, Ben Crankleshaft. So yeah, like I said, a lot of viewers suggested these, and I figured why not toss them into a poll for you guys to vote on. And of course, the poll will be in the top or right-hand corner of the video in the card suggestion. All right, guys, so we're going to get right into the review here of Mr. Armstrong in his damaged format. So yeah, if you guys don't know, Chuck Armstrong is the actual name for the Cars 1 Mood Springs racer, who was then replaced sometime by Dud Throttleman, who was the stock car Mood Springs racer at the beginning of Cars 3. I did review this guy before, so that link will be in the description below, along with the card suggestion pop-up in the top right-hand corner. And the same applies for Ed Trunken here, who then replaced Dud Throttleman in Cars 3 very, very early on. He was replaced in one of the first few races. And this occurred after we saw Dud Throttleman probably talking to the owner of Mood Springs. Which I do want to do a video on something like that. I mean, there's so many cool background things in the movies that I just want to talk about. But anyway, just a little background there for Mood Springs. But in the first Cars movie, as we all know, Chick Hicks caused the massive crash that you see in the background there. And unfortunately, Mood Springs seemed to get the worst of it. This is what he looked like initially, and then as you can see there in the screenshot, he went flying nose first across the tarmac, and then he ended up looking like that, which is extremely close to what we got, as a diecast here. I don't even know why I said close. They're identical. The expression, the mouth, everything, the angle of how he's all mangled up, and of course that is the tow truck Tom, who is towing him away. And you can actually kind of get him to do that. It slides. It's a little hard to do, but you can try and finesse it a little bit. There you go. That's a little bit better. I mean, you have to put him on top of the hook, which isn't really realistic, but it's something, and it makes for a cool display if you want to display them together. Excellent stuff. Excellent stuff. So this here is the rubber tire version of Mood Springs that was released in 2009 as a Kmart exclusive. Very happy to have this guy. Still in really good condition. So we're going to compare them side by side here. First of all, obviously the one thing I can notice right off the bat is the color of blue changed slightly. I feel like it's not as vibrant as it was. It's a little bit more faded, which makes sense because he's damaged. He's dusty and he's dirty, so I like that a lot about him. Now, this was an age of mouth plates. What I mean by that is you can see this little crack here going along the bumper that separates the main metal body from his mouth, which is actually a plastic piece. They did this so it made it more easily to exchange the mouth plates for new expressions, and so you can use the same mold over and over again and just replace the mouth, and then bam, you have a new car. So I don't know exactly why they did this for mood springs though, because it's not like you're ever going to reuse this model, but it was the age of mouth plates. The age of the segmentations, as I like to say it. But anyway, they don't really do that anymore, thankfully. So you can see that is something that really stands out to me in comparison to the regular mood springs here. Taking a closer look here at the hood there, you can see all these lines and scrapes from when he was sliding on his nose. Like he literally was sliding like this from what I showed earlier. And man, he took a beating. I love how straight these lines are, but also they're kind of irregular in the texture there. You can see some tarmac that rubbed off on him there. A little scrape there. Some blackness over here. Of course, love that expression on his mouth. Some more scrapes here on the side. Now, another major difference is that the race damage version here has blue rims, which is accurate to the movie, whereas every other version of him has black rims for some reason, which, I mean, they look nice, they provide contrast, but they aren't accurate to the movie, actually. So that's something interesting to point out. Now, looking here at the side, you can just see how mangled he is. I mean, look at that. You go down like that, and you come back up, and this part here is pushed out. Look how far that's pushed out there. That is ridiculous. Poor mood springs. But yeah, you can see all the scrapes here on the side. Lots of asphalt that he took up. I don't even have to speak. I mean, it's just so amazing. This is one of the best diecast Mattel has ever did, just because of the detail, the immense detail, which is kind of unusual nowadays. Mattel seems to really cheap out on a lot of things and not make them movie accurate. So it makes me appreciate cars like this a lot more. Just soak it in, guys. You can see how this end of him is so much higher than this end. I mean, it's so accurate from what we see in the movie that's ridiculous. And it's tough to make cars movie accurate. I mean, it's something entirely different. You're trying to make something real look like an animation. Something tangible. I love how high this is here. You can see into the fender and the wheel well there. You can see how the wheels themselves are misaligned, and they each have these individual axles here. Usually cars have, the same axle going on the back and the front wheels, but they have individual axles so they can each be, jagged in their own direction, which is just so well done. It's incredible. Can't say enough good things about him. Now, back in 2010, you can see that there's barely any markings on the base, and mine doesn't even have a date stamp, which is a little strange. It's not a prototype. I know my mom actually found this one in the store for me because the final lap line was exclusive to Target, if you guys are unaware. That also did contribute to the rareness of him a little bit because he was only available in one store and only in one case. But, I mean, there were a lot of cars like that, like Swift Alternator. He's not that rare. Some other ones too, like, I don't know, Wet Lightning McQueen, for example, or Valerie Veet or Johnny and Jamie. Those ones aren't rare, and they're in the same boat as Race Damage Mood Springs here. So kind of comparing them here, 360. All the other decals are the same, but they're obviously damaged on the race damage version. Awesome. All right, guys, we're going to compare them now to a couple other damaged cars in the Cars universe, starting with probably the most popular one, being the King. So the King was released damaged in 2009, and he did get a re-release in a 2-pack and a lenticular release, so he is kind of a little bit more available than Mood Springs, but still both of them are quite rare for just being normal releases. And this brings me into the topic that I discussed in my damaged Lightning McQueen custom video, which we'll get to him in a second, but I want to start talking about this, is the fact that Mattel doesn't release damaged cars anymore, or anything that seems a little bit too brutal or harsh or just dark, a little gloomy. And Mattel used to. They used to do this stuff a lot. You have damaged Rod Torque Redline, you have damaged the King, they were going to release damaged Doc, all this stuff, burnt Lightning McQueen, which I talked about in that video, and they just don't do anything like that anymore. They're probably never going to release anything like this damaged Lightning McQueen just because of how dark it is. He's a main character. Now, granted, Mood Springs is not a main character. There's not much of an emotional connection from the fans to him in any way, but I feel like there still, in a way, is because he's a character. We love the racers, first of all, and he's been with us for all these years now. I feel like a lot of people have become fans of Chuck Armstrong, and especially kids. It's just difficult to see characters that they admire and are inspired by damaged, and they're seeing him in a store being sold. So that's just kind of the idea behind why Mattel doesn't release them anymore. And I would never expect a re-release of Race Damaged Mood Springs. So if you find a good deal for him, I would snatch him up, because he'll never be re-released. Damaged McQueen probably will never be re-released or released. He is a custom right here. An amazing custom at that. Speaking of customs, here's my custom damaged Doc, which I will be reviewing in the next few weeks here, so stay tuned for that. I won't show too much of it here in the video, so you guys can check it out in the coming weeks. And of course, we have some cars in the back here made by 4-Wheel Drive 7 in my Damaged Racer video, which I absolutely love that video. It's one of my most popular ever. It actually is my most popular. So if you want to check out that, it'll be in the description below, along with the card suggestion pop-up in the top right-hand corner. That video is over 2 million views. Now, I have absolutely no idea how. I guess people just love damaged racers. I can't blame them. I like them too. So here's damaged Mac iCar, the Apple racer. A lot of people tell me that he never was in the crash, so he shouldn't be damaged. Okay. Here is damaged Greg Candyman. You can really create a nice scene here, a nice stop motion, if you're into that, with these damaged racers. And I only bought them from 4-Wheel Drive because I'm not a good customizer in really any way, shape, or form, and don't really have the time, but it's something very reasonable to do. Honestly, you could just take a hammer to your car and go wild about it. But I did want them to look a little better. 4-Wheel Drive did a great job. Especially with this one here and how he did the spoiler and the tires. But it's definitely something, that you guys can do if you wanted to and make a cool little display out of it. I have a nice display and I'm really happy with it. From an iconic scene in all the Cars movies. Just look at that. That's so cool. All right, guys. So that's all for the damaged cars. I do want to bring in the Team Mood Springs here to support Chuck and get through this rehab period. So a lot of people speculate. It seems like Chuck Armstrong sustained the worst damage out of any Piston Cup racer. And if we think about it, it probably ended his career. And that's when Doug Throttleman here came in and replaced him as the Mood Springs racer, which is kind of sad to think about. It's sad to think that Chick Hicks, with that little nudge to Winford, ended Chuck Armstrong's career. It's just terrible to think about. But it's probably what happened, to be completely honest. Here's a custom Mood Springs crew chief. And here's a custom Mood Springs Pity, which is amazing. Custom Mood Springs toolbox. And I will be doing a review on all this stuff here in my Piston Cup Teams Mood Springs video whenever that does come out. I mean, on those episodes, I always put a poll. And so whenever he gets voted in is when I'll do this whole team review. I also want to get a few more pieces to the puzzle. And then, I'll be ready to submit that into the poll because I'm sure you guys would vote for that immediately. And also, in addition to that, I have a next gen Mood Springs hauler here, which I will be reviewing in the coming weeks as well. So, a lot of cool videos coming, as I said earlier. And I hope you guys enjoy episode 5 of Throwback Thursday. Absolutely incredible release here. It's one of my favorite all-time releases, and I'm so happy that I have the chance here to review it on his 10th anniversary. I mean, that is exactly what it is. I cannot believe that it's been 10 years since the car came out here, which is just wild. I mean, I cannot believe it. Cars has been with me forever, and it really feels nostalgic to do these videos. So thanks again for watching, guys. I will see you on Saturday for a new video. Bye now.